In the world of One Piece, willpower is everything. Haki is literally the manifestation of your ambition. We follow characters who will die before they give up on their dreams. They stare down emperors, punch celestial dragons, and declare war on the world government without blinking. But there is one force in the Grand Line that can bring even the strongest warriors to their knees. It's not Conqueror's Haki. It's not an ancient weapon. It is the overwhelming, dignity-destroying power of simping. Today, we aren't looking at healthy romances. We are looking at the moments where characters completely lost their dignity, their pride, and sometimes their sanity, all for the sake of affection. We have a list of 10, including the king and queen of this category. We are judging these moments based on 3 criteria. The dignity drop. How cool were they before this moment versus how they looked during it? The risk factor. Did their obsession put their life or the crew in danger? And the absurdity. Just how ridiculous did it get? Grab your binoculars and hide your tissues, mostly for the nosebleeds. Let's count down the top 10 simp moments in One Piece. Kicking off our list at number 10, we have a different kind of affection. It's not romantic love, but it is pure, unadulterated fan worship. I'm talking about the former bounty hunters, Abdullah and Jeet. When we first met these guys in Block B of the Kurita Coliseum, they were portrayed as ruthless, dirty fighters. They were terrorists. They had zero honor. They were scary. But the moment God Usopp saved them from being toys, that ruthlessness evaporated. They didn't just respect Usopp, they deified him. This counts as a simp moment because these hardened killers essentially turned into little kids following their dad around the supermarket. They let Luffy ride on their shoulders simply because he was associated with the god. Their dignity as terrifying bounty hunters vanished, replaced by the desperate need to serve the man with the long nose. It's low on the list because it's actually kind of wholesome, but seeing 2 grown men weep over Usopp's lies is a fundamental loss of dignity. At number 9, we move to the toxic side of the spectrum. Charlotte Flampe. Flampe represents the superficial simp. She claimed to love her big brother Katakuri. She was the president of his fan club. She built her entire identity around being the king of sisters to his perfect big brother. She literally interfered in a death match, shooting Luffy, just to get noticed by Katakuri. But here is where the dignity hits the floor. The moment Katakuri revealed his imperfect mouth, her love instantly curdled into mockery. She went from worshipping the ground he walked on to spitting gum at him. Why is this on a simp list? Because her initial obsession was so fragile it was pathetic. She wasn't loyal, she was obsessed with an image. And when that image broke, she exposed herself as a shallow, clout-chasing brat. She got knocked out by Haki, foaming at the mouth, a fitting end for a fake fan. Number 8 gives us mental gymnastics. Charlotte Pudding. This is a case study in tsundere behavior gone wrong. Pudding started as a villain who planned to murder Sanji at the altar. Cold, calculated, and manipulative. But the moment Sanji genuinely complimented her third eye, something everyone else, including her own mother, called creepy, her brain broke. During the escape from Whole Cake Island, Pudding could not function. She would insult Sanji, telling him to die, while simultaneously swooning and heart-eyesing over him in her head. She lost all agency. She was so overwhelmed by her crush that she couldn't even have a normal conversation. She robbed herself of a goodbye kiss by erasing his memory because she couldn't handle the reality of her feelings. It's tragic. But watching her glitch out and insult the man she loves is a peak loss of dignity moment. She fumbled the bag because she couldn't control the simp within. Number 7 is the darkest entry on this list. Vanderdecken the Ninth. If Sanji is the knight of simping, Vanderdecken is the criminal of simping. This guy decided he was going to marry the mermaid princess Shirahoshi when she was 6 years old. That alone puts him on a watch list. His Mark fruit allowed him to throw anything at his target. Because she rejected him, he spent 10 years throwing axes, arrows, and eventually an entire gigantic ship, the Noah, at her. This is the ultimate loss of dignity, because Decken has zero self-awareness. He shaved his head to look cool. It didn't work. He allied with Hody Jones just to get close to her, and he was willing to destroy the entire Fishman Island just because, if I can't have her, no one can. He died, well, got knocked out. A pathetic, obsessive loser who confused possession with love. Zero dignity found. Now we get to the specific requests from our list. Number 6, Baby 5. Baby Five's simping is actually a pathological trauma response, which makes it both sad and hilarious. She grew up in a famine-stricken village where she was told she was useless. This broke her brain. Now, as an adult, if anyone asks her for anything, even if it's just to borrow money or buy a useless subscription, she interprets it as, "They need me." She loses her dignity constantly. In the Dressrosa arc, enemies would exploit this. "Baby Five, shoot yourself!" And she would actually consider it because she wants to be helpful. But the peak moment is with Sai. They are in the middle of a war. Doflamingo is bird caging the island, and Baby Five is busy planning her wedding to Sai because he broke her weapon, and she interpreted his anger as passion. She switched teams mid-battle, abandoning the Don Quixote family solely because a man yelled at her. It turned out great for her, but purely strategically, that is a massive fold. Number 5. The man who represents us, the audience. Bartolomeo, the cannibal. Bartolomeo is a brutal pirate. He cuts out tongues. He burns villages. He won his block in the Colosseum by literally taking a nap and peeing off the edge of the ring. He is the definition of disrespectful until he sees Luffy. Then, this terrifying rookie turns into a puddle of goo. Bartolomeo's dignity vanishes the second a straw hat is nearby. He couldn't even look Luffy in the eye during Dressrosa. He fainted when Zoro acknowledged him. He risked his life to protect Robin. Not because of chivalry, but because she is the senior of the crew. The moment that seals his spot here is the staircase scene. He throws himself in front of an explosion, using his body as a shield, screaming about how great Luffy is. He named his attacks after Luffy, Bari Bari no pistol. He designed his ship, the Going Luffy Senpai, to look like Luffy. It is obsessive, it is cringe, and it is beautiful. He traded his reputation as a cannibal to be the president of the fan club. We are skipping to the top 3, and honestly, Sanji could occupy all 3 spots. But we have to talk about the single most biologically impossible simp moment in history. Number 3. Sanji meeting the mermaid princess. Context is key. Sanji spent 2 years in the Kamabaka kingdom. For him, this was hell. He didn't see a real woman for 730 days. When he arrived at Sabaody and Fishman Island, his tolerance was at 0. When he arrived at the Mermaid Cove, he didn't just get a nosebleed, he turned into a biological propulsion engine. He lost so much blood from pure horny excitement that it became a critical plot point. Think about that. The Straw Hats trained for 2 years to get stronger. Zoro cut a ship in half. Luffy mastered Haki. Sanji? Sanji almost died because he saw a mermaid. He needed a blood transfusion. The narrative stopped because Sanji simped too hard. And when he finally met Shirahoshi, the mermaid princess, he turned to stone. Not literal stone like Hancock's fruit, but metaphorical stone from sheer awe. He abandoned his cool, suave persona entirely, reducing himself to a blood-spraying fountain. It is the only time in anime history where being horny was a legitimate medical emergency. Number 2. The Pirate Empress, Boa Hancock. This is the starkest contrast on the list. To the world, Hancock is the snake princess. She looks down on people so much she's actually looking up. She kicks puppies. She turns vice admirals to stone. She is the definition of icy dignity. Enter Luffy. The moment she falls for him, her dignity doesn't just drop, it evaporates. She sneaks him into Impel Down, hiding him under her skirt, literally risking her warlord title and her life. She brings him food while blushing like a schoolgirl. The peak moment, Marineford. In the middle of the greatest war in history, while Whitebeard is quaking the earth and Akainu is melting people, Hancock is daydreaming about her wedding with Luffy. She fights Smoker solely to protect her beloved. When Luffy hugs her, she collapses. The Empress of Amazon Lily, who commands an army of Haki users, is taken out of commission by a hug. It is the most powerful simp energy we have ever seen because of the sheer gap between her public image and her internal fangirling. I know we already had Sanji, but number 1 has to be the darker side of his devotion. This is where simping stops being funny and becomes heartbreaking. The whole Cake Island arc. Specifically, Sanji's devotion to Pudding before the reveal. Sanji was willing to give up his dream. He was willing to leave the Straw Hats. He beat up his own captain Luffy, knocking out a tooth, all to protect the crew and his new fiancée, Pudding. He accepted his fate as a political pawn because he thought, at least this beautiful girl loves me. The moment he stands outside that window, holding the flowers and the bento box he cooked for her, and hears her calling him a failed experiment and laughing at his proposal, that is the ultimate simp tragedy. He lost his dignity not because he was horny, but because he was hopeful. He put his self-worth into the hands of someone who hated him. The image of Sanji crying in the rain, unable to light his cigarette because because the lighter is wet. That is the price of blind devotion. However, he regains it. He returns to Luffy. But that moment of vulnerability, where he sacrificed everything for a lie, is the most impactful moment of love-induced weakness in the series. So there you have it. From nosebleeds that require medical intervention to empresses who forget how to breathe. One Piece proves that no matter how strong your Haki is, love, or lust, is the great equalizer. Did I miss a moment? Is there a bigger simp than Sanji? Probably not. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the indignity of romance, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.